Good morning, children. Welcome back to our math session. Our today's topic is Introduction Part 3. In today's part, you can see the detailed explanation of square root and finding square root by repeated subtraction method. So, let me start. Let me start our new topic, that is square roots. We already discussed about squares, isn't it? So now we are going to talk about another new concept, that is square roots. So this might be a new term for you right now, isn't it? You might be thinking, then what could be root in mathematics? Because we learned about the roots of the plant, but how are the roots of the plant related to squares? Well, here we are not going to talk about the roots of the plants, but we are going to talk about a function which is an inverse function of squares. Okay, let's take this example. Let's say that there is a garden in your locality which is in the shape of a square, because we are learning about squares since quite some time, isn't it? So you have a garden. The area of the garden is 900 meters square. That means the total region enclosed by the square is 900 meters square. So you know the area this time, isn't? Yes. Now your friend asked you that what is the length of each side of the garden, because you don't know how long is each side of the garden. So that's not known to do. So how do you find out the length of each side of the garden? So all we know that the area of a square is equal to side square. That is, whatever is the length of the side, square of that side is its area. So 900 is the area which is known to us. But what is the side? How do we find out the value of side? So this becomes difficult because you don't know what to do, isn't? You know that squares of the side is equal to 900. But how much exactly is the value of the side, that you don't know. How will you find that? So that is why we make use of square root. So here we are going to introduce you the inverse function. Now this is not a new thing. You know this, means you have learned about this, but it is just that we are making it more advanced now. Let's take one daily life activities, that your mother gave you 6 cookies. Okay, so how many total cookies do you have now with you? You have 6 cookies. Now, your father gave 4 more cookies. So, now how many cookies do you have with you? You already had 6 plus 4 your father gave you. So, how much do you have in total? You have 10 cookies in all, right? So, what you have done here, you did addition. You added the number of cookies given by your mother with the number of cookies given by your father. And that's how you counted the total number of cookies that you have. So looking at this, what do we see? Here we can see the numbers itself. That is, if you want to get a 10 from 6, so I give you 6 and I tell you that you have to make this 6 to 10. How will you make this 6 to 10? By adding 4 more, isn't it? So when you want to get a 10 from 6, you do addition, right? Now if I tell you that I gave you 10 cookies and you have to make 6 cookies, that means I am giving you more number of cookies and you have to make it 6. So what do you need to do? You make 10 cookies to 6 cookies. You need to eat 4 of them, right? So basically what you are doing, you have to subtract 4 from 10. Only then you will get 6 cookies, isn't? Correct. So what do you see? You see that addition and subtraction, they are inverse function, isn't? So if you want to get a 10 from 6, you add 4. But if you want to get a 6 from 10, you subtract 4. So you deal with the same number, isn't it? Here in both the cases, you are dealing with the number 4. But instead of adding, you are subtracting it. So that is why I say that addition and subtraction are inverse function. So I hope you have to understood the concept of inverse function. Let us take one more example. Let's say that 10 into 6 is equal to 60. So if I tell you, I give you 10 cookies, right? And you have to make them 60 by multiplying. So how will you multiply? Let's see that you have one box of cookies, means one box has 10 cookies, right? So how many boxes will you need such that the total number of cookies is 60? So basically you want 60 from 10. So what will you do to get 60 from 10? You multiply by 6. Now, if I tell you that I give you 60 and you have to make it 10. So what will you do? How will you get it 10 from 60? This time also you deal with the same number 6. But instead of multiplying, you have to divide. So 6 into 10 gives you 60, which means that 60 divided by 6 you gives 10. Isn't? So with this you get to know that multiplication and division are also inverse functions. Now on similar lines, let's talk about squares. Now when I tell you 2 square gives you 4. So that means if I want to get a 4 from 2, what do? I square 2. So if I want a 4 from 2 by squaring, then I square 2, isn't it? Now if I tell you that I want to get 2 from 4, so I want 2 from 4. So what should I do to 4 such that I get 2? So this time you need a new operation, and that new operation is square root. So square root and squares are inverse functions. So basically when you say 2 square is equal to 4, that actually means the square root of 4 is equal to 2. So the square root of any number is that number which when multiplied to itself gives you the other number. For example, if you see that root 81, that means root 81 should be that number such that the number when multiplied to itself gives you 81. So what is the number? That number will be 9, because if you multiply 9 with itself, that means 9 into 9, you get 81. Clear? So if I ask you what is the square root of 64, so you need one such number which when multiplied by itself it gives you 64. So the number would be 8, because 8 square is equal to 64. So this is square root. I hope you understood what is square root. Square root is a new function, or it is an inverse function of squares. Clear? Okay, now why do we call this square root? In square root, you would have seen that the value that we get in the base. So actually we are getting the value of the base using squares. For example, root 25. The value of root 25 is 5. So if you look at the square function, it is 5 square is equal to 25. 5 square means 5 is the base. Square is the power, isn't it? So with this square root operation, you are actually functioning out the value of the base. So that is why this is called root. The square root, because it is we have the term square because it is inverse function of square. Root because it is you give the value of the base. So that is why it is called square root. Clear? So now let's look at the square root of different numbers. Like I say, how we have taken in last classes, that is the starting numbers, means the smaller number we can take. So first few numbers, that is always we are discussing about the squares of numbers. So that is sometimes that we were always referring the squares of the first few numbers, isn't it? Right, like that. Now let us look at the square root of these squares, because I said square root are the inverse function of squares. If I say that 1 square is equal to 1, that actually mean that root 1 is equal to 1. So here 2 square is equal to 4. So root 4 is equal to 2. So to get 4 from 2, you square it. But to get 2 from 4, we find square root of 4. Clear? Similarly, 3 square is equal to 9. Root 9 is equal to 3. So you can see that it is a form of inverse function, isn't it? It's a inverse of a square, means square root is the inverse function of square. Now the next question that might strike in your mind is that, means we can find square root only for perfect squares or not. Well, in a way, when you say that the value of square root should be a whole number, in that case, yes, the square root value of the perfect square will only be whole number. Like root 25. What would be root 25? It would be 5. But if I ask you to find out the square root of 24, you cannot get one whole number because 24 is not a perfect square. There is no such number which when multiplied to itself is 24, isn't it? So you cannot get the root over 24 value as one whole number. Clear? So we are talking about the square root right now. We will deal with the perfect squares only. Okay. Now tell me, what would be the length of the side of your garden? Let me come back to our starting, means where we have started the length of the side of our garden. So here area is given 900. So now you can find it very easily, isn't it? So how? So the side of the garden is equal to root 900. So root 900 is equal to 9, the root square of 3. So 20 is there. So 10 means 30. 900 is equal to 30 into 30. So we can easily say that the side length is 30 meter. Clear? So I hope you understand the point square root. So clear? Okay. Our next point is finding square root by repeated subtraction method. Now, next question that comes to your mind, that how do we find the square root of a number? That it seems to be a big challenge, isn't? That finding squares make it easier because we only have to multiply even if we go by the actual multiplication method. But when we learn some tricks also to make that easier. But how do we find square root? So now we have a popular options. So first let we talk about the simplest option, which is repeated subtraction. So it is the simplest option, but it is not a very favorable or very suitable one. But still we will learn about it. Now, if you remember, while we were learning about the squares of numbers, we saw that to finding square numbers, we added odd numbers. So I think you are remembering the list we already done there. Means the first few numbers, the perfect squares of first numbers, that is 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, and so on. To find their values, we just kept on adding odd numbers, right? And then we say that the sum of first and odd numbers is n square, and that n square is the perfect square. So that was one of the way of finding squares of numbers, isn't? Now we saw that square root is just the inverse function of squares. So this time also we will do something with the odd numbers, but we will not add. Instead of addition, what we will do? Square root is the inverse of square. So adding in square means inverse. What is the inverse of addition? Subtraction. So here, instead of addition, we'll subtract them. So that is why this method is repeated subtraction method. Let us take one example. Let's say we consider the number 36. So you have to find out the square root of 36. So what are we going to do? We are going to subtract odd numbers from 36. And how are we going to do that? So we'll do within few steps. So in first step, we subtract the first odd number, that is 1, from 36. So how much do we get? 36 minus 1, we get 35. Then second step, we further subtract from 35. That was the result we obtained from first step. From that, we subtract the next odd number, that is 3. So 35 minus 3 is 32. In third step, we subtract from 32, the next odd number is 5. So 32 minus 5 is 27. In fourth step, we subtract from 27, the next odd number, which is 7. So 27 minus 7, we get 20. Now in fifth step, we subtract from 20 the next odd number, that is 9. So 20 minus 9, which is 11. Now you might be thinking that how long are we going to do this? So we will continue this process until and unless we get a 0 here. So in step number 6, we are going to subtract the next odd number from 11, and the next odd number is also 11. So the result is 0. 11 minus 11 is equal to 0. So what happens it doesn't matter whichever the number is for which you want to find out the square root. So if that is a perfect square, only then you will get a whole number for the square root, right? So you will be able to find out the square root only for the perfect squares. Okay, so if it is a perfect square, then as you keep subtracting an odd number from that number, you finally would get a 0. Now what you have to do? Now you have to see in how many steps did you get this 0. In how many steps here we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you got this in 6 steps, isn't? That means root 36 is 6. So it is as simple as that, isn't it? Okay. Now you might be thinking, we were doing squares, we were adding consecutive odd numbers, right? For example, to get 36, we added the first 6 odd numbers. So here also we did the same thing. Basically, we subtracted the first 6 odd numbers. So since it is subtraction, so we try to do this in 6 separate steps so that it becomes easy for you to see how many times you did that subtraction. So it is just the inverse thing. So since a square root is the inverse of square. So to find a square, we added odd numbers. To get a square root, we subtract odd numbers. Perfect? But however, this method is not suitable for large numbers. For example, here we took 36, so that it was 6 steps, isn't it? Now let's say that if I ask you to find out the square root of 144. So do you think that this is a very suitable method? Because in that case, the root 144 is actually 12. So you have, means you are actually going to have some 12 steps like this, isn't it? So if I ask you to find out the square root 900, so you will have some 30 steps there. So this is not suitable for large numbers, isn't it? This repeated subtraction method is not suitable for large numbers. Why? Because it will take, means too lengthy it is. If we have to find, if we have to reach 0, means for 30 steps here, 40 steps, it is very lengthy. So it is not suitable for large numbers. So we need some other method, isn't it? So that method we will discuss in next session. Now we can conclude. We subtract successive odd numbers starting from 1 from the given square number till we get 0. The number of times we have to make subtraction is called the square root of the given square number. Clear? This is the repeated subtraction method of finding square root. Okay? Here we are winding up our session. Okay? Thank you.